Here's a statement that will make some men uncomfortable. Ignoring a woman is one of the most misunderstood and powerful tactics in attraction, and it carries a dark psychological weight. Most men think ignoring her means being rude, playing games, or being emotionally unavailable. But the truth is much more nuanced and far more effective when done strategically. Ignoring a woman, when done with intent, taps into her subconscious mind, triggers curiosity, and creates emotional tension that can dramatically increase attraction. The reason this works is simple. Humans, especially women, are wired to notice what seems scarce or unpredictable. When you're always available, always answering her texts instantly, or always agreeing to meet, you signal predictability. Predictability feels safe, but it rarely sparks desire. Desire thrives on emotional tension, uncertainty, and anticipation, and this is where the act of ignoring comes into play. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me be clear. This isn't about manipulation, cruelty, or trying to trick her into liking you. Ignoring a woman strategically is about maintaining your boundaries, showing self-respect, and creating emotional pull. It's about showing her that you have a life, a mind, and a value that exists independently of her attention. And when she senses that, her subconscious begins to assign you higher value. She becomes curious. She thinks about you when you're not around. And if done correctly, she starts seeking your attention without even realizing it. This video will break down the psychology behind ignoring a woman, why it works, and how men often misuse it, killing attraction instead of building it. We'll explore both the subtle and darker elements of this dynamic, so you can understand what happens in her mind when you step back, how it affects her emotions, and why your absence can sometimes feel more powerful than your presence. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. This is a space where we focus on practical insights into female psychology and male attraction. No fluff, no confusion, just direct strategies that work in real life. Today, we're uncovering the dark psychology of ignoring a woman and showing you how to use it wisely to increase her desire and respect naturally. 1. Why ignoring sparks? Curiosity. When you stop responding immediately or give her a little space, her brain starts working in ways you may not even realize. Curiosity is a powerful psychological tool, and ignoring a woman, when done correctly, taps directly into it. It triggers her mind to ask questions. Why isn't he texting back? What is he doing? Does he even care? This mental engagement builds emotional tension, which is the foundation of desire. Imagine this. You've been casually seeing a woman for a few weeks, texting every day, and always making yourself available. Then one evening, she messages you to make plans, but you're tied up with something important. Maybe a project, a personal goal, or just your own downtime. Instead of dropping everything, you respond later with a calm, intentional message, letting her know you're occupied, but still interested. That small act changes the dynamic. Suddenly, she's paying attention in a way she wasn't before. She's wondering what you're doing, noticing small details about you she previously overlooked, and even anticipating your next message or interaction. This works because humans are wired to pay more attention to what isn't guaranteed. Scarcity naturally increases perceived value. When you're always there, she takes it for granted. Your presence is expected, but when you create even a small amount of distance, she subconsciously reevaluates your importance. Your attention, once automatic, becomes something she wants and seeks out. Curiosity also fuels emotional investment. When a woman starts wondering about your thoughts, actions, or feelings, she's thinking about you even when you're not present. That mental engagement strengthens her attraction because she's actively processing her connection to you. Ignoring in this context isn't about cruelty or manipulation. It's about allowing her mind to engage with you in a way that presence alone often can't achieve. The key to doing this effectively is subtlety and intention. You don't ignore her to punish her, nor do you use it as a game. You simply create space while maintaining your value, demonstrating that your life isn't centered solely around her. The result is natural curiosity, a heightened sense of intrigue, and an emotional pull that draws her closer without you having to chase or plead for attention. 2. The emotional pull of absence. There's a simple but powerful truth in attraction. Absence creates pull. When you're not constantly around, her brain begins to notice your value in a way it didn't before. It's not about playing hard to get or being cold. It's about allowing your presence to have weight. When she feels your absence, she starts to mentally and emotionally invest in you, thinking about your personality, your actions, and the moments you've shared. Emotional pull works because humans naturally assign more value to things that aren't immediately available. When a man is always accessible, his attention feels routine, predictable, and less meaningful. But when he steps back and creates distance, even subtly, his attention gains significance. Every interaction becomes more impactful because it's no longer something she takes for granted. This pull isn't built through manipulation. It's built through consistency, independence, and the subtle art of making her think about you when you're not there. She begins to notice your qualities, remember the moments she enjoyed, and even anticipate your next message or meeting. That anticipation is a powerful driver of attraction. It makes her desire your presence more than she did when you were always there. Another aspect of emotional pull is that it triggers reflection. When a woman feels your absence, she begins to evaluate her own feelings. She starts asking herself questions like, do I really value him? Or what does he mean to me? This self-reflection naturally deepens her emotional connection. The pull comes not from you demanding attention, but from her realizing the space you occupy in her mind and heart. It's important to balance this absence with intentional engagement. Ignoring doesn't mean disappearing completely or being unreachable for long periods without explanation. It means creating moments of unavailability while still showing that you care, have boundaries, and are emotionally self-contained. This combination amplifies the emotional pull because it shows that you are independent and confident, qualities that women are inherently attracted to. 3. How women respond to unpredictability. Unpredictability is a psychological trigger that most men underestimate. Women are naturally drawn to men who aren't entirely predictable, who maintain a sense of mystery and autonomy. When you ignore a woman strategically or step back from constant availability, you introduce unpredictability into the dynamic, and that unpredictability sparks attraction. Women respond to unpredictability because it keeps them mentally and emotionally engaged. If she knows exactly how you will react, when you'll respond, and what you'll say, her brain doesn't need to invest energy in thinking about you. Predictability feels safe, but safety doesn't create desire. Unpredictability, on the other hand, stimulates curiosity, engagement, and even emotional tension, all of which deepen attraction. The key is subtlety. Unpredictability doesn't mean being erratic or unstable. It's not about being unreliable or disrespectful. It's about maintaining your independence, being fully absorbed in your life, and responding on your terms. This can be as simple as taking a bit longer to reply to a text, being unavailable at times due to personal priorities, or focusing on your goals rather than immediately dropping everything. These small shifts create intrigue and make her pay attention in ways she wouldn't when you're constantly predictable. Another reason unpredictability works is that it mirrors the way humans are wired for emotional investment. When a woman isn't sure what to expect, she starts paying more attention to patterns, behaviors, and cues. She analyzes your words, actions, and presence in a deeper way. This mental and emotional engagement fosters attachment and heightens desire. Unpredictability also makes your presence more memorable. When you show up with intention and confidence, even after periods of absence, it creates contrast. She remembers those moments more vividly because they stand out against the backdrop of your usual independence. This contrast reinforces attraction without any effort on your part, beyond maintaining your boundaries. In essence, women respond to unpredictability because it challenges their expectations and engages their curiosity. When paired with confidence, independence, and self-respect, being slightly unpredictable, whether through timing, presence, or interaction, strengthens your value in her mind. It turns ordinary attention into something she actively desires, making her seek you out rather than take you for granted. 4. The fine line between respect and game playing. Ignoring a woman can be incredibly effective, but only when it's done with the right mindset. There's a fine line between maintaining respect and falling into the trap of game playing. Many men think that ignoring her is about manipulation or making her chase you, but when done poorly, it can backfire and destroy attraction instead of building it. Respectful ignoring is rooted in self-value and boundaries. It's about recognizing that your time, attention, and energy are valuable, and you aren't willing to give them away automatically. This shows strength, confidence, and emotional stability. Women notice men who don't bend over backward to get approval or attention. When a man respects himself, he naturally commands respect from her, and that respect often transforms into attraction. Game playing, on the other hand, comes from insecurity. Men who ignore out of fear of losing her, to punish her, or to test her are not creating attraction. They're creating confusion, frustration, and distrust. Women can sense this almost immediately. When ignoring crosses into manipulation, it no longer stimulates desire. It breeds resentment and signals immaturity. The key difference between respect and game playing lies in intention. Respectful ignoring is consistent with your values and boundaries. It's not about causing drama or emotional turmoil. It's about staying in control of your own life while interacting with her on your terms. You can still be warm, attentive, and genuine, but you don't compromise your independence or overextend yourself for validation. Another point is timing. Ignoring indiscriminately or for prolonged periods without reason can erode trust. Effective ignoring is about strategic presence and absence. It's about showing that you have priorities and that your attention is earned, not given freely. Women respond positively when they feel a man is confident, consistent, and self-contained, not when they feel like he's intentionally toying with them. 5. When ignoring backfires. While ignoring a woman can be a powerful tool, it's not foolproof. When done incorrectly, it can backfire and damage attraction instead of building it. Understanding when and how ignoring works, and when it doesn't, is crucial for any man who wants to use this tactic effectively. Imagine this. You're texting a woman and she's shown consistent interest. One day, you decide to stop responding for several days because you think it will make her chase you. Instead of creating desire, she feels confused, frustrated, and even hurt. Now, instead of thinking about your value or missing your presence, she's questioning your intentions and whether you respect her. This is the classic example of ignoring gone wrong. Absence without intention or clarity. Ignoring backfires when it's done from insecurity, ego, or a desire to punish. Women are incredibly perceptive about motives. If they sense that your silence is meant to manipulate, test, or teach them a lesson, it destroys trust and reduces attraction. Emotional games like this rarely create genuine desire. They create resentment. Attraction is built on emotional engagement, curiosity, and respect, not on confusion and frustration. Another reason ignoring can backfire is overuse. Some men think that constantly stepping back or withdrawing will make a woman more interested. In reality, it can have the opposite effect. If your absence is too long or inconsistent without reason, she may assume disinterest and emotionally disengage. Timing and balance are everything. Strategic absence works because it creates anticipation and emotional pull, not because it's prolonged or erratic. Effective ignoring also requires context. It works best when there is already some level of connection or attraction. If you've just met her or are in the early stages, complete silence may create doubt rather than desire. The goal is to enhance attraction, not create uncertainty about your interest. Finally, ignoring backfires when it's done without maintaining your own life and priorities. If your absence isn't supported by meaningful activities, goals, or independence, it can feel empty. Women notice the difference between a man who is unavailable because he's engaged in a fulfilling life versus a man who is absent simply out of fear or ego. 6. The subconscious power of silence. Silence is far more powerful than most men realize. Ignoring a woman strategically taps into her subconscious mind, creating emotional reactions that she might not even be fully aware of. When you stop giving constant attention, responding immediately, or over-communicating, you trigger a psychological mechanism that makes your presence feel more valuable. The subconscious mind is wired to notice patterns and deviations. When a man suddenly becomes less available or responds selectively, her brain flags this change. It sparks curiosity, prompts reflection, and encourages emotional investment. She begins thinking about you more, analyzing your actions, and even remembering moments that stood out, all without you saying a word. Silence communicates more than words can. It creates tension, intrigue, and a magnetic pull. Another aspect of the subconscious power of silence is emotional regulation. When you remain calm, composed, and selectively responsive, it signals confidence and emotional strength. Women are instinctively attracted to men who are self-contained and emotionally stable. By not overreacting to messages or attempts at attention, you convey that your value and happiness aren't dependent on her approval. This quiet strength resonates on a deep, often subconscious level. Silence also allows desire to build naturally. When a woman experiences your absence, she mentally fills the gap. She starts replaying conversations, interactions, and memories, which strengthens her emotional connection. The anticipation created by your silence makes every interaction more significant. Each message or meeting becomes meaningful because it is no longer taken for granted. Importantly, the subconscious effect of silence works best when paired with authenticity. You can't ignore someone haphazardly or out of frustration. Your actions must align with your priorities, values, and lifestyle. When your silence reflects a genuine focus on your own life, it is interpreted positively. It's not manipulation. It's a natural consequence of living independently while maintaining emotional boundaries. 7. How men kill. Attraction by being too available. Here's a harsh truth. Most men unknowingly sabotage their own attraction by being too available. They think that constantly responding, always agreeing to meet, or over-investing their time will make a woman like them more. In reality, it often has the opposite effect. Over-availability signals neediness, lowers your perceived value, and removes the emotional tension that fuels desire. Many men overcompensate early in dating by texting non-stop, rearranging their schedules, or going out of their way to please her. At first, she might enjoy the attention, but over time, predictability sets in. Your constant presence becomes expected, and desire diminishes. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, passions, and boundaries because independence signals strength, confidence, and self-respect. Being too available communicates dependency, which is the opposite of attraction. Another way men kill attraction is by failing to create emotional pull. They give attention freely without balancing presence and absence. When you are always reachable, your value diminishes in her mind. Emotional tension, the subtle pull that makes her think about you, miss you, and anticipate your attention, disappears. Desire thrives on scarcity, curiosity, and anticipation. Over-availability kills all three. Some men also underestimate the power of boundaries, saying yes to everything, prioritizing her requests over your own goals, or constantly bending over backward signals that your life revolves around her. Women are subconsciously attracted to men who maintain their independence. When boundaries are absent, respect and attraction fade. Constructive criticism for men. Start reflecting on your patterns. Are you too available? Do you respond immediately to every text or request? Are you compromising your own life to accommodate hers? Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you recognize these habits, you can implement balance, prioritize your life, communicate intentionally, and maintain selective availability. The takeaway is simple. Attraction is fueled by value, presence, and strategic absence. Over-availability erodes all three. Step back, respect your time, and allow emotional tension to exist naturally. When you do, she will begin to notice you in ways she never did before, invest more emotionally, and naturally desire your attention. By creating space while remaining genuine and confident, you stop chasing and start leading, which is the true path to attraction. Here's a controversial truth. Ignoring a woman strategically is more about your value than her behavior. It's not punishment or manipulation. It's a reflection of self-respect, independence, and emotional strength. When you stop being constantly available, her mind begins to notice your worth. She starts thinking about you, reflecting on your connection, and emotionally investing, often without realizing it. Understanding the psychology behind ignoring changes the way you interact with women. It's not about playing games or being cold. It's about balancing presence and absence to create emotional pull. Scarcity, unpredictability, and selective attention trigger attraction because they engage her subconscious mind, spark curiosity, and make your attention feel valuable. Women naturally respond to men who demonstrate these traits, men who are confident, independent, and emotionally self-contained. Now, I want to hear from you. Share your experiences in the comments. Moments when stepping back increased her interest, or times when over-availability backfired. I'll personally engage with your stories because understanding these dynamics works best when applied in real life. Remember this: attraction is subtle, psychological, and often operates beneath the surface. By mastering the art of strategic ignoring, you create tension, curiosity, and desire without ever being manipulative. Your value, boundaries, and intentional absence become tools of attraction, and women notice, respect, and pursue men who understand this. Step back, live your life fully, and watch how the dynamic changes naturally.